Welcome, visitors. You're about to get a tour and learn about the history of the Manteno State Hospital. In the 1920s, a need for an additional Illinois mental health facility began to grow as the state hospitals in Jacksonville, Elgin, and Kankakee became overcrowded. In 1929, the cornerstone for the newly dedicated Manteno State Hospital was placed, and the first patients were admitted 1 year later from nearby Kankakee State Hospital. The hospital was laid out in a cottage plan, with parallel streets in a city-like structure behind the administration building, which is still standing today, creating a sense of a community rather than the old towering asylums of years past. Most of the cottages were 1 or 2-story buildings. The cottages were named after pioneers in the mental health field. The building you're going to view is called Brandon House. Brandon House is currently on the site of the Manteno Veterans Home. Brandon House is the only existing original structure from the bygone years of the mental health era. You will see Brandon House in its natural form. If you look very closely, you will see some spirits. The wheelchairs remain from the day they closed it and pulled the patients out. There's some interesting things inside the Brandon House. A little bit of history. Recent history of Brandon House. 3 escaped patients from the Nexus facility, which houses sexual offenders. 3 patients escaped. They broke into the Brandon House with no electricity. They stayed there for 3 months until they were recaptured and located. You'll see where they used the stairwell and deposited human waste. You'll see some of their belongings. If you listen to the Brandon house, you'll hear the spirits come alive. As we toured the Brandon house, we felt a coolness come upon us. We could only stay inside the facility a very short time. Please take close attention. It is the last structure standing of the old Manteno State Hospital. Enjoy your visit, and we'll be back to share more soon. Welcome back, visitors. I hope you're enjoying your tour. The Brandon House and the Manteno State Hospital, in addition to treating people with psychiatric disorders, the hospital also served as a treatment center for typhoid outbreaks, a terrible condition at the time. It also had a dedicated tuberculosis building. The hospital became short-staffed, and many problems persisted throughout the life of Manteno State Hospital patients. Many scandals, reports of multiple abuse, and even a patient murder began to surface as the patient-to-staff ratio became more dramatic. During the 60s and the 70s, the hospital consisted mostly of elderly patients and voluntary alcoholics. Many homeless alcoholics were taken and captured, and they found their way without any belongings, any backgrounds, and they were sent to Manteno from Chicago. The hospital was never designed to house dangerous patients. However, people found innocent of a felony by reason of insanity, yet deemed too dangerous to be set free, were being sent to Manteno State Hospital in later years. Husbands who were tired of their wives decided to say they were insane, sent them to the facility. This Brandon house also has the spirit of many Chicago heroin addicts. The last use of the building was for those suffering from heroin addiction. So the building not only has the spirits, the mentally insane, and the dangerous, but also many suffering from drug addiction. And as you toured the Brandon house, you can almost hear their silent screams. Please say a prayer for the souls of these departed who are trying to escape the facility and somehow are captured in the Brandon house. Thank you for your